We've been working on this Ferrari Garage for a couple of months now, and we've made some pretty amazing things. But what I'm building today just might be my favorite. What you see laid out here in front of you is the guts to a sink. So the garage has a bathroom, and it's tucked back behind the bar area. The hallway goes back, there's the bathroom, and it's your standard bathroom. But I didn't want it just to be the run-of-the-mill bathroom. It's in a super cool garage, so why not have a super cool things going on in there? And I thought this is a perfect opportunity for me to build him a sink. A big inspiration for the sink, I remember watching the movie Speed Racer, and they had this twisted transmission in the corner of this office. So I figured, why not just build a sink out of a transmission, a tire, I got a rim, I got some gear shifters for hot and cold, gas pump coming in, and not install your standard cabinet sink and give him something to be surprised about in a bathroom. He has no idea that I'm actually making this. First step, I gotta find some transmission parts. So Nathan brings over his box of car parts, and we just have fun going through it, trying to figure out what we're gonna make next. It's a lot of fun when you're actually kit bashing in real life. You've got parts and pieces and also figuring out how it's going to function. Did a rude, quick drawing, transmission, tire. I want a glass sink and then an old gas pump. Adam always seems to find all kinds of stuff out there. He found a vintage gas pump. So this is what I'm actually gonna use for the faucet. Nathan had some old transmission parts, so we sandblasted that, started polishing it, gonna see what that looks like. The bell housing for it, all kinds of stuff is gonna happen. So I figured the sink's gonna go into here, and I wanna do a glass sink because I want you to be able to see everything inside of that. We have a whole bucket of parts and pieces we're looking at. I wanna put lights up into there. So with the tire, I actually bought a tire, the same one that he has on his Ferrari. And this is also the tread that I used to make the whole tread pattern for all the cabinets and everything that you guys saw in an earlier video. If not, check out that video. So the sink's gonna fit into here. Problem is, it falls through. Awesome opportunity to make something. I figured I would make a rim. Now this is just proof of concept. This whole thing is made out of PVC. So I just cut it out on the CNC, proof of concept, make sure everything works and fits. That's gonna go on top of there, almost like a bead locker. Then this goes on to there. Love everything about that. The rim he has on his Ferrari, it's a certain look to it, but I need structure and I need a way that this is all going to like seat into it. So I figured 2 notches here. When this is, the real one's made, it's gonna be made out of 1/4-inch steel. This is going to then be welded onto there, and then the actual rim part, you'll see what I'm talking about, fits into here. So for the structure, this will get welded onto here, and then when it goes down in, this is actually going to clip under the tire, boom, and then this sits on top. So it locks the rim in. Hopefully it'll be very easy to push in. I don't know yet. So when that's in place, you'll see the black rim underneath. This will have lights underneath it so you can see everything. Then the sink goes in, and then this is gonna be the center part of the rim that we just lasered out. Even though the sink is a smaller part of the overall project, it's still like the attention to detail, the little hood ornament of the project. It doesn't have to be integrated into anything else that was previously built. Standalone, this could go in my house or your house. So I could really just wing it and go by the seat of my pants and make what my heart desired. So I start off by catting out the rim, the dimensions of the rim, the arc of how that's going to actually come down, which then gave me my spacing because I still have to hit one dimension from the floor up so it's a comfortable sink and you're not trying to reach too high or go too low to wash your hands. When I'm making the rim, the actual meat of the rim that you're going to see, I knew I wasn't gonna make that out of steel because it's just bending and heating, but I can get away with something that's also going to act as a cushion for the glass. You really don't want steel on glass. Something could happen and it wouldn't be good. I knew ahead of time I was going to be making that actual body of the rim out of PVC. So I would trench out grooves that would then snap in to the actual splines of the steel that's the support. The ring and the ribs of the rim are then connected to the 5 lug nuts that then I can bolt down in and it actually grips the tire and solidifies everything. So that tire's not moving, everything is all connected. Sometimes when you cut lightweight material such as PVC and you don't put tabs in it because you don't have time for tabs, it'll kind of get away from you and it's okay. You just slide the material down without cutting it and just run it again. And make sure you're lined up perfectly with the CNC machine and you're good to start cutting. Anytime I know I'm going to be making something out of steel, especially 1/4 inch, I will build everything out of PVC. It's real easy for me to sand down, make sure everything fits, take my measurements, put it back into Fusion, and make my cut for the plasma. Once I had the PVC prototype and it snapped right into place so easily because PVC can flex, unlike steel. It's a little foreshadowing. I knew the PVC prototype was perfect, so I was able to take the ring, place it onto the steel ring, mark where everything needed to key up to it, and start welding the real one. Because I only tacked 3 in place, it snapped in a little too well. But with only 3, I was able to slightly break one to remove it. So I knew once I had all of them welded on, it was not coming out. Once I had everything laid out, welded, I could then weld on my lug nut bolt pattern onto the bottom and then off to sandblasting. Once I had the rim completed, sandblasted, and I knew I now have my size, I still need to take a little bit off of the bottom. I was now able to bounce all around and work on what I was excited about. I'm not sure what HD is, but my doctor said I have 80 of them.
Oh my God, that is so bad.
In order to keep the tire from falling through the transmission because the diameter is much larger, I needed to make a flange that goes around the bottom, but I still need to cut out because I want to be able to see down into there. So I took a photo of the transmission and went back over to Fusion. I needed more 1/4 inch steel to cut out my flange. So I go out to my pile of potential, find a piece of steel, but it's been laying there for a little bit and it's a little too big. So I just plasma cut off part of it and then jump on it and it's flat and you're good to go. When you use a plasma cutter and it's doing its thing, there's a lot of slag that comes off and you can sit there and grind it and grind it. The best tool for that is a needler. Pneumatic, all these needles come out and it just knocks that slag right off. After all the slag's cleaned off, I place my flange on top of the bell housing and it fits perfect because I don't make mistakes. Booyah! Sandblast. Well, I guess I do make mistakes because I sandblasted the wrong side, but they're both getting sandblasted anyway, so no harm, no foul. Now I can inlay my PVC part to really give the body and the shape of this rim. The fact that it's PVC, I'm able to take a heat gun and that helps with the bending as well as super glue and then liquid nails underneath at the end. Now that the rim is complete and I have the flange for the bottom of the tire, I now have the dimension of what exactly I need to make for the rim to now mount onto the transmission. So to make the mounting bracket, I just took a piece of flat stock, I round over my edges. I need to have a diameter large enough for the bolts to go through, and I want these blackened Allen heads to show through because you're going to be able to see everything. You'll see I do a little fine tuning with the hands. I knew I needed about 1.5 inches clearance, which was perfect because it's a 2x4. Once I had the actual lugs that I was using, I needed to bore out the acceptance holes a little bit larger. I'll trim the lug nuts down because that's going to give me more space when I tighten up a lug nut to go further down if I need to. Once I've welded the lug nuts onto the plate that will be mounted to the transmission, I'll deburr those, and then I have to make sure this thing is exactly center. So I'll take all my measurements, make sure it's dead center, and then I'll take it off. Make sure we're all perfectly centered, measured out, then take it off. And then I'll do it again. Make sure we got to get this thing completely perfect. and tack it into place. I now have to mount the transmission to the wall. So I take a photo, just like I did before, take it into Fusion, and then I can match up all my little bolt hole patterns and the distance from the wall, and it's fantastic. I love lightning holes because they are just so industrial looking, and it wasn't until recent Dylan realized they're not lightning holes, they are lightening. They make things lighter because you're removing material. Plus it looks cool. So once I have the rim mount figured out and the sink mount to the wall figured out, I now have to figure out hot and cold, how that's actually going to function. So here's my dilemma. I have a hot and cold. I'm going to do like gear shifters. So he can turn the hot on, turn the cold on, turn them off, all comes through the gas pump. I have a valve that I have to machine out so the gear shifter rod that I have to make will actually fit into that. They don't make a 1/2 inch with mounting brackets. So I have to extend it out off the transmission, mount this, so then this piece can then go through and be mounted. But with the leverage, there's nothing that's gonna stop this from twisting. When you have that much leverage and you're like, hot water, it's gonna turn. But I think I have a pretty cool solution. Let's see if it works. My solution was to take a socket and part it on the lathe, but it's hardened steel and it's a dull parting tool. So it looks like hardened steel doesn't really like the parting tool. The friction from the hardened steel and the parting tool made the parting tool expand, grip, and rip. So plan B, the other best way to part on a lathe. Do not do this. Originally, I would braze that on, but I can't because the insides of the valves are all urethane and that's gonna melt under the heat. But I also couldn't do that because they need to be removable in case something happens and a valve breaks. So the plan was to weld the socket onto the steel so it locks it in, and then when the threaded part of the hose goes onto the back, it's all locked in. And because the socket is so thin, I just need it to cover the flat edges of the brass. You have to be very careful and get it just perfect. No! So once I made 2 of them, I thought I was done. So I pushed those off to the side. Now it's time to work on the gas pump hose, which is my faucet. So what I'm gonna do this morning is make the hose for the sink. I need it to come up, over, and into this way. So it's gonna come out, around, and then down. So I gotta take a precise measurement of how long, cut it out of the pipe, and then start with the pipe bender and bend it. This time I'm gonna take the precise measurement. Want it to come up, over, and here. So if I were to take that pipe and straighten it, I'll need that much. All right, we got the hose bent. Looking awesome. Faucet goes into here. I'm going to trim this down. This is gonna come into here and then right in the center of the drain. I have to make a collet so this can be removable. Unclamp, this comes off, get to the hoses, get to whatever, put it back on. We're gonna figure out what to make over on the lathe. So let's go. One thing I love to do is to take a lot of material and just start removing it, whether it's sculpting, it's all subtraction sculpting, similar to what I'm doing here on a lathe. I'm gonna take all this aluminum, remove it into a 6-sided object. You know what the name of that is, right? I have to protect the ways of a lathe. Dust, Bondo dust, I'm very messy here and I make a lot of dust. So one of the first videos that we ever did, just as a test, was I built a motorized casing around the lathe. So it's motorized and it raises up and it comes down and closes. So when I am using it, it's all open and I have lights above. And then when I'm not using it, it's all closed up and looks cool. So once I have the extruded ring or the aluminum toilet paper, I have one side that is the right diameter to go into the pipe. The other side is the correct diameter to go into the gas pump. I now put it onto the mill and I'll begin planing off all 6 sides to make a sextagon. To make the part, it's just a lot of planing back and forth. Nobody wants to see that all day long. So we'll just fast forward to the end of that. I wanted, instead of it just being one long piece, I wanted to part it so it looked like a smaller one that's connected to the gas pump and a longer one connected to the gas line. So you can actually screw the two together. It just looks like you can. Once I had the nut and back nut for the gas pump and the gas line, I need to finish everything off. So I made a little aluminum beauty ring for the bottom where it then connects into the mounting bracket for the transmission into the wall. Once I have the gas hose bent perfect and I blew the mounting bracket, that stops any rust and it's great stuff. I can now attach that and put that to the side because I'm done. Now I can concentrate onto the valves. Once I have the mounting brackets for the valves in and I begin to mount the valves themselves, I realize off is off in the opposing direction on the other side. On, off. I don't want that. So I could do linkage over here and then they work, or I can just start over and figure out another way to do this. So back to the drawing board. Over in Diffusion, I designed a better mounting bracket. Always opportunities for improvement. So once the new valves came in, I had to figure out a way how I'm going to attach the splines onto a gear shifter. And I've got enough lightning holes, and circles are always awesome, so why not make 2 that go down into the gear shifter, and then I could attach the faucets onto this thing. I now have to thread the rods to accept the gear shifter on top, as well as thread into my hub for the hot cold that then get connected to the faucet handles. While Nathan and I are working on threading the handles for the hot and cold on the sink, I really wanted to get to a question that I had read and it really resonated with me. The comment I'm talking about is from Piso Reese. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but it'll be here. You can pause and read what he actually says. It resonates with me because so many artists out there like myself, we all struggle with perfectionism. And the saying goes, an artist's work is never done, it's just abandoned. The minute you have something that you have made and you kind of almost feel embarrassed that, hey, somebody's looking at it, the first thing you say is, it's not finished. Everybody says, oh, it's not done yet. There's a point where you have to move on, and I don't mean that's as good as it's gonna get, but kind of put that to the side, like, okay, I'm happy with the way it looks, but there's still something not finished with it. You will struggle your whole life with all your pieces that you ever make because you know there's something not done. There's a point in my life when I'm doing art that I look at it and I want to change something. I want to add something. I'm done. It's at that moment I realize I'm finished. I want to add or I want to take away, but I don't know exactly what it is. You're done. Sleep on it. Come back 2 or 3 days later. Look at it. If you still have that feeling that you want something you don't, then it's done. And that is the feeling you want to create with everybody else that sees that work. Like, that's really good. Oh, maybe, no? Huh? And it's that self-doubt that you have that, is it done? Is it not done? That you just get over. You just kind of work with it and live with it, and eventually you'll come back a year later and look at that piece and be like, wow, how did I know I was done? And it just happens. It's an internal struggle that all of us go through. How do I want to say this? The worst thing you can do is search for the perfect solution, because you will get in the way of the art. You won't let it be what it wants to be because you're too busy critiquing every last little bit. Stand back, look at the big picture. Stand back, look at the forest. Enjoy it. Don't stress over it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's so true. That was really good. I don't even want to show the footage of the work. I just want to
The gas pump, being vintage, is just old. And I needed to make sure that I was going to have water flow through. So I know there's multiple filters in your gas pump. And when you actually squeeze, this valve goes into this and then opens up a very tiny hole. I needed to get rid of all that and make sure that I had enough water to flow through so it looks awesome. Once I was able to accomplish that and I tested out with my water bottle, you can see the enthusiasm in my face. Now that I know I have water flowing through the pump, it's time to actually feed the hose up through the pipe. So how it worked out up here was I can push that hose all the way through. I knew the diameter was great to fit through the pipe if the pipe was straight. The fact that I have bent it meant that that hole was shorter. So when the actual threaded part of the hose goes up, we all know it wiggles, right? So it's like pushing rope up through there. Once I get it, I can't move it anymore. It won't go anymore. I can't push it anymore forward, and I can't pull it out. And there it is, in my masterpiece of bentness.
Yeah.
It's stuck. So I don't just have to cut the pipe off where it goes in, the gas line. I also have to cut from underneath because I welded on both sides. I was just about to put my gussets in. Not only has it been welded, but the diameter of the pipe itself, I have to now knock that out because the other pipe won't slide in unless all that is out. So take number 2. So learning from my mistake, on the second one, I decided to thread the red hose all the way through. And it's a red hose, so it's gonna look super cool once I start bending. So I get it in there and I start bending it and I'm bending it, I'm feeling it, it's looking great. I'm bending it around and I'm bending, and all of a sudden, I just don't like the way this looks. So that one goes in the dumpster. So take number 3. I thread the hose, this time it's a blue hose, all the way through and begin my bending process all over again for the 3rd time. This one's awesome. And this one has a blue hose. So today I'm gonna be mounting that onto there, getting the bowl mounted into the tire, figuring out the hot and cold gear shifter knobs, and put a little light in there. So should be a cool day today. Once I figured out the lighting and I was able to wire that up and place it underneath, I'll do super glue, just proof of concept, so it's in there, and then I'll come back with my caulking and lock everything in. I turn it on and I'm excited, it works, but it's pink. So I end up taking red gel, cutting that out, the same thing you put over light, right? So I cut the red gel out, I glue that on around there, and bam! Now I have the Ferrari red I want. At this point, I am able to now downsize the sink. I knew I wanted to take it down about 3/4 of an inch. So the best way to cut a straight line on a circle, 3/4 inch tape. You just wrap that right around, make sure there aren't any wrinkles, then you know you have a true circumference, and cut that puppy off. So I start assembling everything to make sure everything is gonna fit perfectly. I test out the height, make sure, yep, that's about right for me to wash my hands. So now I have my valves installed. I know they're working in my head, because I haven't run water through the whole thing yet. Now it's time to really assemble it. Really act as if I am installing. I quickly realized that the hole I have in the back for the drain to come out of is not large enough for my arm to go into, because I have to tighten that last bit on when I'm in the field. So I've got to cut an opening big enough for my arm to get in, which involved first an air saw, then a grinder, a hammer, and then the frustration. So you just kind of walk away. And then Nathan comes in with the big guns of a Sawzall, because it saws all. And he makes a hole big enough for me that now I can get my arm up into there. I'll seal in the drain pipe with clear caulking to make sure it stays where it goes during transportation to the job site to install it. And now it's time to install. I have every tool I can think of. I've got my handy dandy toolbox. I have my zip toggles, love using those. And let's get this thing installed.
Sexy.
Is that everything? Good. Oh, jeez. Here.
Let me first grab my toolbox. We are installing the sink. So right now I gotta mount the back of this, which is going to be at 29 3/4. I think that's the roach coach.
Yeah, I think so.
These are zip toggles. I use these all the time. This is what I anchor through drywall or anything. You have a grade 8 bolt here. They're awesome. You drill a 1/2 inch hole, you pull it like this, you insert it into the hole, you snap it back this way, it locks in behind that drywall. Then you zip it right up, snap these off, and now that is held into place. Then you can run your bolt through and it will hold 850 pounds each. They're awesome. Not sure what that is. CMU. That's a cinder block wall. The entire building is CMU, cinder block. So I know that's it, and I'm hitting the cinder block wall. So I'll mark it with my finger, pull it out, and then I know how much I need to cut off, which would be right about into there, because I don't want it to bottom out onto the wall. And then I will tape that. And now I know where that needs to be cut.
So what's going on here?
Yeah, apparently the cinder block is right there and the drywall's there. So it's not gonna give me enough room to take it in and flip it. No. Step 2, we're gonna do tap con. Now you're gonna probably want to tripod that because I'm gonna need your help.
Check that out.
Oh, it's so convenient. I don't know how many of you guys out there have ever done plumbing, but it's guaranteed 3 trips. 3 trips back to the plumbing aisle. You don't want to know how many trips I took. Oh!
Beautiful.
I'm gonna raise my head up.
Yeah, raise your head up now.
You know, we're gonna have a moment of truth in here because I only tested this in theory, meaning in my head. So we're gonna turn water on and hopefully not have a sprinkler show.
So what are you doing now?
I am putting Teflon tape around the threads. And when you do that, you always wanna do it in a clockwise direction. That way, when you tighten it up, this stuff's like using peeled sunburned skin. You want to wrap it in a clockwise rotation. That way, when you tighten it, you don't unravel what you just put on. Wrap it 3 times, thread it in. Okay, can you hand me the American metric wrench?
Yeah, 9/16. American metric.
There you go. It's a true pleasure doing plumbing.
but you'll know real quick if it's done wrong. Kind of like when you're doing your gas lines at your house. At least this one isn't that bad when it leaks. Little armor all. Who wouldn't armor all the inside of their tire?
Still doing the star pattern? Where it doesn't come off center.
The way how I designed this is when the water comes down, this actually inserts in, so that's gonna allow it to burp. So there won't be any water backflow problems. And here we go. Hot and cold.
Looks like a set screw.
Mm-hmm. Nothing left to do now but turn the water on. Obviously, that's not the way the water should come out. So I need to start making some adjustments. Proof's the concept while I'm in the field, and the Armor All cap just happened to be the perfect size.
Oh, that's much better. Oh, look at that.
I need a screen right there. See that big air pocket in there? Once you have screen, the water tension is gonna go across it and then come out as one flow. That's why you guys have screens at the bottom in your fountains. The plan for the rest of this video was to show you guys how I make the brass insert with the screen, insert that into it, and have the water flow out perfect. But somebody on the job site had other plans for me. So if you notice, this is no longer in the right position. It's supposed to be up here, on, off. So somebody has wrenched it down. And the hot is nowhere to be found. Oh, it's down here. Okay, so they have totally stripped that. Sheared that piece right off. Inside of there. It's okay, everything is fixable. And honestly, it really is an opportunity for improvement because I was able to see the flaw, now I can fix it. And once I saw the fix in my head, I can't believe I didn't think of it in the first place. So while I'm waiting for parts to come in, the new valves to fix the sink, I still have other obligations. I have to do the steel around all the windows as well as the floor and keep everything moving. So the sink's gonna sit on the back burner for now till parts come in, and then you guys get to see how I solve that problem so that will never happen again. So in our next video, you should see how I solve that problem with the sink, as well as all the steel that goes around the windows and the floor. So make sure you subscribe and tell all your friends, and thank you so much. See you guys soon.